Alright guys, I'm feeling really inspired right now, so I wanted to make a video. I'll do a quick recap. I was sick for a while. I had made a video talking about how I decided I wanted to shift gears from driving Lyft and Uber a lot to, in order to save money to buy land this year, shift gears to being more creative and focusing on like learning more skills and things like that, and trying to share that adventure via videos like these. I thought about that some more and decided that it was a fun but kind of empty way to live my life. It didn't feel as fulfilling to me as working towards land, so decided to ixnay that and return to the original plan, which is just to get land. So there's a little catch up real quick. Let me check the screen because I often tap the sides of the screen because I hold it in my hand. I should probably I have this tiny tripod that's only about 12 inches long. I should maybe bring that so that I don't accidentally risk tapping the focus, like tapping the screen and screwing up the focus on this end. I also remember from previous videos that it has a lot of trouble focusing, so hopefully this video is staying in focus and not constantly shifting in and out of focus. That's pretty annoying when it does that. So I was listening to a Tony Robbins video. I listened to him being interviewed by Alex Hormozy recently, and then I was just listening to him being interviewed by Stephen Bartlett, better known as Diary of a CEO, his podcast. Got me thinking just a lot about like what I want to do with my life, which is what I'm thinking about all the time anyway. But usually when I listen to kind of anybody who's inspiring and who helps us reflect on what our own goals are, it helps stir up some energy in me. Excuse me. So yeah, guys, I'm just feeling really alive and passionate right now about the retreats that I want to create. And I was really trying to think this morning about like how I struggle a lot with like, do I want to work on this in a very slow way that kind of annoys me sometimes because it is so slow and doesn't feel, I really feel like I should be doing more what's the right word for that? I was going to say outreach, but I don't think that's quite the right word though. More reaching out into the world and expressing the ideas that I have that I want to create. It doesn't really do a whole lot though. It's like people listen to the words I say and then they're just like, okay, I've just listened to some words. I'm going to go on with my day now. And so it kind of feels like it doesn't really do a whole lot, but I think that if I keep going with it, if I keep talking about the retreats and everything that I want to create, at the very least, it'll help keep me on track. If not, maybe inspire other people too. I had an idea this morning that was like, maybe I should try to make more videos about different self-improvement techniques to help to try to give more value to people, to word it in like an entrepreneurial way. Anything that sounds at all corporate to me is less enticing or something to me. It's not as palatable to me, so I tend not to word things in that way. But, you know, some people like that kind of wording and some people don't. Words are funny because the meaning behind the words doesn't really change. We just use different words and then people say, oh, that's gross, or I don't like that, even though they like the meaning behind the words. They just don't like the words that are used to describe it. Funny thing. The retreats and thinking about what can I do to, I can talk till I'm blue in the face about the retreats. I can tell you about all of it. But I wonder if that's the most practical way for me to move toward them or not. Maybe it is. Maybe trying to spread the word. If 100,000 people can hear the idea and 100 of those people like the idea enough to literally donate money to help me get closer to that goal, that's cool. And maybe that's the most efficient way, or just like the best way overall to move toward the goal. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but I'm trying to figure out what that is. I was thinking a little while ago about the podcast I was listening to with Diary of a CEO interviewing Stephen Bartlett, interviewing Tony Robbins, and about how they're talking about how AI is going to put a lot of people out of a job. Next year, the year after, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever the time frame is, that's the idea, and that's going to happen eventually. The retreats to me are so... everything I hear, all the different problems that I hear from all different sources, my solution is always retreats, the sanctuaries. Like, that's where my mind jumps to all the time. And it makes me happy in a way, because it tells me that all these different problems that I see in the world, that the ways that I've designed the sanctuaries, which is the other word that I use for retreats, in case you're coming to the video and you haven't heard me talk about them before. The sanctuaries, it makes me feel like I've designed them pretty well, in words, obviously, because I hear about all these different issues from all these different people living life in all these different ways, and these problems that I hear, and then I hear these problems, and then I see how the sanctuary can help solve whatever problem it is that they're talking about. And it just makes me that much more enthusiastic about creating the sanctuaries. Anyway, so AI, jobs, people being lacking meaning. They're talking about how they said some statistic, like it's the longest in history. It's the only time in history this many people between age, I forget the age range. They were like between age 25 and 40 or something, are like are jobless, or they're not like branching off and creating their own. They're not like pioneering their own path through life. They're continuing to live with other people in like group settings, usually with family. I'm living with my family right now. I'm 34 years old, so I land right in the middle of that statistic, if you will. So anyway, they're talking about how they're talking about a few different problems, and kind of tying them all together, relating them all with each other. Sorry, I think I was blocking the mic for a second there. Relating all these problems with each other. Let me check to make sure the recording's still going. Good. It says out of 10 minutes, so I can only record up to 10. I'm gonna have to keep checking that. That's gonna be really annoying for me, because I hate editing, and I'm gonna have to clip all these different videos together. Oh well. Let me look at my watch here so I can keep track of how much time I actually have left to talk on this recording. Okay, I see it. If AI takes over jobs and then everybody loses their jobs, okay, what happens? What do we do? To me, rewind slightly. They're also talking about how technology is going to, like, theoretically free up our time, and we won't have to work or something. It's an argument like, oh, we're going to get this piece of technology, this object that can do this job, therefore we don't have to do it anymore. That's great. That means we can work less now. But you look at history and how many technological improvements that we've had, and we're still working quite a bit, in my opinion. Now, you could argue over the course of several thousand years, we went from working all the time, which depends on how you define work exactly, but we can say that overall we have decreased the workload, or the hours spent working per, that we've decreased the hours spent working per week per day, per week, however you want to measure it. Personally, I feel like even if that's true, even if the total number of hours worked, we can at least say, since like the Industrial Revolution, clock in, clock out, kind of like 9 to 5 hours. Some people, if you're coal miner, however many years ago, you work 12 hours a day. Like, there are definitely examples. I feel like with the amount of technological progress that we've had over the last at least 100 years, but you can go back further and further and further. And to me, how I would define true progress is if we have to work an average of 40 hours per week. This is the US. I live in the US. Other countries, people work all the time. It's not good. Yes, I can't talk about everyone everywhere all the time, so I'm just going to talk about the US for right now. Let's say on average that each person works 40 hours a week. If this is also your first time watching my videos, I stutter sometimes when I go 40 hours a week instead of just saying 40. That's why. All right, so if that's the number of hours that we work a week on average is 40 hours a week, to me, progress is we now only have to work 39 hours a week. If each year we progressed technology in such a way that resulted in us actually being able to work 1 hour less or something like that, some actual measurable decrease in the amount of hours required to work in order to acquire our basic necessities, like food, shelter, water, electricity, internet. Yeah. If we still have to work the same number of hours, to me, by the way I personally view progress, to me, if that number of hours has not decreased, then we are not progressing. That's my personal definition of progress. Everybody's gonna have their own. It might be different than mine. It might have some similarities. It might be the same as mine. Whatever. That's mine. So the sanctuaries, I really believe it in a world. Some people are talking about how, like, oh, it's gonna displace jobs. Some people hate the word displace because it's too like corporate or something. It's too vague. It's too removed from the realities of pain that people experience when they lose a job and then they can't provide for their family or even for themselves. So I hear that. Wanted to note that real quick. People are enjoying the idea that AI, as it progresses, as robotics also progresses, and those two things are merged, that we will have highly artificially intelligent robots that can walk around, interact, do various tasks, etc. And they like to play with the idea that that means that we won't have to work as much. And then there are ideas that get thrown around, like a basic amount of money that each person receives per month or something like that to pay for their rent, to pay for their food, because people won't be working, because robots will be doing their jobs. When I look back through history, I see that happening to an extent where technology does decrease the total number of hours that we have to work in order to acquire our basic necessities. I see it somewhat. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that somehow we could get artificially intelligent robots advanced enough to do basically everything, to construct houses, to plant seeds which grow food that they then harvest and process, and they put into packaging, and that packaging was manufactured by other robots, and that packaging was then put into a truck by other robots, and that truck is a self-driving truck which then delivers the packaging to the plant where they harvest the food, where the robots harvest the food, and then they put the food in the packaging made by other robots, and then they put that back into the self-driving truck, which then delivers the food to a supermarket or whatever. However you want to keep playing this imaginary scenario out. What I'm trying to say is they do everything. They construct the houses, the vehicles, all of it, right? Let's just play with this idea, right? Okay. So what do we do? Like, what do humans do when they wake up in the morning? They take a shit. Ha ha ha. Okay. Then maybe they take a shower. Okay. Then what do? They have a cup of coffee. Okay. Then what do? They go to work? Question mark. Well, what if there is no jobs anymore? Not just like less jobs. I'm saying, hypothetically speaking, let's just play with this idea for a moment. Let's say there are no jobs, meaning like literally zero. You're not teaching, you're not being a doctor, you're not being a lawyer, there's nothing anymore in terms of work. And there is some kind, I'm not saying I want this to happen, I like this, I'm not saying I don't want it or I don't like, I'm just presenting this hypothetical situation. What do we do? What do you want to do? To me, I think about spaces like the retreats that I want to create. I'm using the word retreat. I only use that word to help other people roughly conceptualize it in their head, because it's much more than just a retreat. God, there's so much to this idea. I struggle. I know I'm cutting myself off right now. Basically, to wrap that up in a very messy way, it would be something like, I mean, arguably, I guess, in that position, people could do whatever they want, kind of, depending on how much money the government decides to give them every month. Let's say they give them $2,000 a month. It depends on what area of the country that you live in, depends on what area of the world, obviously. But again, I'm only talking about the U.S., so like different area. If you live in New York City, $2,000 a month is, you can scrape by on that, I guess. People are like, oh, no, you can't, Zach. You're an idiot. You don't know anything about what it's like to live here. It's $8 million a month to have a 1 square foot size apartment. I get it, guys. It's expensive. Yes, got it. Check mark. Okay. I get it. You need $8,000 a month. Okay, got it. You got it. You need 12. Okay, all right. Let's calm down. Let's try to choose a number that's some kind of useful number here. Maybe I shouldn't address the people who are going way out into left field in my videos, because it kind of throws me off track. Maybe I should pretend that I don't hear those rebuttals or whatever that imaginary people have that aren't really imagined. They're kind of if you imagine people who really exist, I mean, yeah, it's imaginary, but like you're imagining a reality that is real. So it's a weird thing to call it imaginary. I go on tangents a lot. Deal with it or don't. Stop watching the video. I love you. I love me. Let's continue. I'm really passionate about helping people. I'm maybe most passionate about trying to help people figure out the activities that they are most passionate about. It could be painting, could be repairing cars, could be singing, could be whatever. Managing a business, being a manager at an existing business, creating your own business of whatever kind, designing clothes, manufacturing shovels. I don't know. Doesn't matter. The point is, that's what I'm really... I think that's what... That might be what gives me the most juice in life. Helping people in general does, but that's arguably too vague. We can do... I'm helping people by driving Lyft and Uber. I help people get to work on time. Whatever. Helping people is super, 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 super vague. So, therefore, it's not very helpful in this context. I like helping people figure out the stuff that juices them up, that really makes them feel excited and alive and happy to be alive, and they want to be alive. They want to wake up every morning because they're excited to do the stuff that they love to do. I like helping people figure out what they love to do. I like doing that a lot. I also like helping people figure out, once they have at least one thing that they know that they really like to do, if not more than that, I like helping them figure out how to make their life revolve around whatever that thing is that they really enjoy. Or if it's a few things, how to mix them together in such a way that harmonizes all of them and like allows them to spend the maximum amount of time possible on those activities. So if you love to garden, if that was your thing, then I would want to help you like figure out how to just garden every day of your life, or as often as you want. If you don't want to literally do it every day, then okay. I would challenge you that maybe there's something else you like even more than gardening then that you haven't quite tapped into yet, because oftentimes when we figure out activities that really juice us up, we want to do them every day. Sometimes we want to take little breaks here or there, but for the most part, it's like taking a break from like the coolest thing ever. It's like, why would I want to take a break doing that? Or like retirement. I'm 34 now. I think I said that earlier in this video. When I was like 20, I think I was like 23 or something, I made a joke with my grandparents at the time because they were retiring around that time, I believe. And I said, yeah, I'm already retired. Because to me, retirement's like, it's a mindset to a degree. Retirement people, it depends. If they're in a good position financially and they choose to work, then they're choosing to work because they want to work, because they like it. I've met retired people who are working, and it's not like, oh, it's like, you're damn right I'm still. I like moving around, like talking to people, like interacting with people, like doing things. I think that's great, and it's really healthy. Continuing to be active forever, for as long as we can, is what keeps us alive and healthy. I'm going off on such a tangent right now. The fabric of this textile that I was putting together is coming apart at the seams here, and I was talking about AI and about how I was listening to, Tony Robbins being interviewed, and I just like jumping around all over the place. But the sanctuaries would solve a lot of the issues. It's really meaning. We lose jobs, we lose meaning. That's one of the things they were talking about in the interviews I was listening to, that when people lose their job, they feel a existential crisis of, holy shit, I don't have a reason to wake up. I'm not doing anything to provide for myself or other people, like kind of like random strangers who were once customers that I used to serve, or I can't do that to then acquire goods to then provide for the people around me. Like there's a loss of meaning that I'd say most people experience if they lose a job. So Meaning is the is the real core thing happening behind the scenes in our heads. So if we address that more directly via asking ourselves, what is it that juices me up in life? Usually what juices us up the most, it's not just an activity for the sake of the pleasure of the activity. Meaning, if we like to garden, to use that example, to continue with that example, it's not that we just like to go. If it's something that gives us the most excitement, the most happiness and joy, and just like, I'm feeling alive and amazing. Usually, if not maybe always, that activity is somehow tied up in a larger purpose, something that we do to serve the world around us. So if we're gardening, for example, maybe we garden to beautify the neighborhood we live in. Maybe we garden to grow some food to feed ourselves, our family, maybe the neighborhood we live in. But for somehow, some way, the gardening in this example is providing some sort of cool good or service to the people around us. It's providing something that is some kind of tangible, some kind of like, you can see what's going on. You can see that even if it's not tangible, like you're growing potatoes to feed people, even if you just make your land, your lawn or whatever it is, very beautiful, then you can tangibilize it in your head by saying, when people walk past or drive past my house, they might go a little slower and just be like, wow. And it's a reminder of how beautiful life can be. Like, that's a great way to serve the world around you. That's really cool. So that's a tangible way to serve the world too. Maybe not, some people would argue it's not as tangible because it's not like a physical object you're holding and can walk away with, but I'd still say that that's a tangible thing that you're providing the world around you. So there's meaning and purpose and service to those around us wrapped up in whatever activity it is that we enjoy. We somehow do that activity to serve people. Also, to address the issue of like, well, we can't provide for my family. If I lose my job, then I lose my house, and a whole what are they called? Like domino effect happens. One problem leads to another. For me, I believe, and I think a lot of people would agree with me on this if they give it some thought as well, there are challenges to making this practical at large scale, but I believe they're challenges that are worth addressing and directly trying to overcome, because I think the potential of this solution is great. That with the sanctuaries, at least initially, the food grown and produced there, the water sourced there, whether from rainwater or from a well or a river, whatever it is, food, water, if whatever sort of natural supplies are there, rock, dirt, trees, whatever it is, to use as building materials. Really, I worry that a lot of people, when I talk about stuff like this, or as I go forward with it, that people start to wonder like, oh, Zach wants us to live like cave people or something like that, or Zach wants us to live like hippies or something like that. No, I don't. I want to have internet. I want to have highly technologically advanced stuff around me. I want to have like cutting edge electronics and all that stuff around me. I think it's really interesting. I think it's really fun to have all that, to use all that, to be able to play with all that. I want all that in my life, genuinely. I think it's cool and helpful. I think that at a core level, we are animalistic. We're physical beings that require air to breathe, water to drink, shelter, food. We have physical requirements. I think that to at least learn how to acquire these basic necessities to literally be alive, to learn how to acquire them on our own, even if we then choose not to use what we learned. For example, learn how to grow potatoes. I'm just going to choose an easy example here. If you learn how to grow potatoes, cool. That's one food that you now know how to grow. You can now choose not to do it, not to grow potatoes if you don't want to grow potatoes. That's not the point. The point is you should know how. And not just potatoes, you should know how to get water. You should know the basics, and I believe everyone should know how to do these things, the basic necessities. I think it's extremely, extremely important. I think that we as a society, at least here in the US, have gotten so far removed and divorced from our nature as flesh and blood human beings that I think it's heavily wrapped up in a lot of the issues that we're having now. Even the meaning one. Feelings of like deep-seated feelings of security because like, oh, if I lose my job, it means I can't pay my rent. I can't buy food. They're like, and even if we feel very secure in our jobs, just knowing that, just being aware. Sorry, something popped up on my phone there. Just being aware that if we lose our jobs means happens. Even if we're like, no, I'm not gonna lose my job. They love me at my job. There's no reason why I would lose my job. I'm very secure in my job. I'm good. Cool, I'm happy. That's great. I hope that you also enjoy your job. Great if you do. Cool. Even with all of that, it is still true that if you were to lose it, hopefully you have lots of money saved up. You could live for a year without working. If so, holy cow, you're blessed. That's amazing and wonderful. Most people, that's not the case. And the fact of the matter is, part of you, even just subconsciously, is aware that you can't, you're not real, you're providing for yourself in a surrogate kind of way, or maybe like a proxy. Like you're providing for yourself, yes, by acquiring money from someone else that you then use to actually get the things that you need. Shelter, your rent, your mortgage, your whatever, your groceries, etc. When you learn how to get water from the world, from the rain, from the river, and then treat the water to drink it, when you at least know how. Again, I'm going to remind you again, I'm not saying people have to live like this. I'm saying people need to learn how to do these things. We're building a skyscraper. We as a culture, as a country in the USA, we've built up, and we're so high up there, and we're starting to sway and teeter and lean, and we're getting worried, and it feels like something is a little like, ooh, something, we're starting to feel with AI now, things are that too. Like, there are things happening that are making it more and more obvious to us that some foundational levels of whatever all this is that we've created aren't as strong as we wish they were. Flesh and blood human beings, me, you, we have lost the knowledge, not really lost, but just for one reason or another have not taken the time to learn how to grow food, how to collect water from nature, treat it, and be able to drink it. We've excuse me. We don't know how to construct shelters. Zach, none of this is practical. I'm not going to have to go in the woods and construct. I can't even go in the woods. I live in the middle of New York City. We have like 3 trees here, bro. Like, what are you talking about right now? Hear me out. Learning how to do these things addresses a deep-seated part of us that we have forgotten is there because of the level of comfort that we have in this country. We are so comfortable and so far removed from our own mortality. The fact that you are flesh, blood, bones, we've forgotten that in this country. It sounds weird. It sounds like I'm some woo-woo weirdo talking about stupid stuff that nobody gives a shit about. Okay, fine. Click away. I love you. Goodbye. Good luck. But if you're with me on this, if you're at least remaining somewhat open-minded to what I'm trying to say right now, I'm saying a lot of different stuff right now. I know. I get it. If you want to feel like a human again, act like one. Humans don't... For a very long time, humans didn't wake up and go to a 9 to 5 in an office with artificial light and one window 30 feet away. Even if you work a construction job and you're outside all the time and whatever, you get fresh air, that's great. I'm happy. If we were to learn the basic skills of being human again, I think a lot of people would be a lot happier. They'd feel a lot more secure. There'd be a deeper security that other people don't have because they don't have those skills. I don't even really feel like there's much of an argument there against that. I think it's, maybe there is, maybe I'm missing some perspective here. But if you put 2 people, like, here's person A, here's person B, person A, they both work a 9 to 5 job, but person A knows, they know how to defend themselves physically. They know how to fight. They know first aid. They know CPR. They know the Heimlich. They know what to do for like large wounds. They know what to do for like first aid. They roughly know wilderness survival. They know how to construct shelters. They know how to hunt and gather. They know how to get water. Maybe they even know how to make clothes in some kind of way. They know how to navigate. They know how to make a friction fire. They know how to farm. They know how to grow food. There are these skills. So let's say person A, roughly the same life as person B, but person A has taken the time to learn these various skills. Person A is probably just going to feel, there's going to be some, I don't want to say the word secret, because it's not secret. It's just like, you can't wear it, like it's not, you can't see skills. You can see skills in action. You can see skills being displayed, being put on display if the person is acting those skills out, right? But the skill itself is invisible. It's just in our minds. Having skills like those, even if we don't use them, again, I don't give a shit about, I don't care to see everybody living like cave people. That's not the point. But having skills like these, I think, are extremely important. I'm gonna go back to the idea of like meaning and all that. Meaning coming up in life, that's a big part of the retreats that I want to create, the sanctuaries that I want to create, is to give people a space, time. It takes time. And I feel like that's what people lack so much today, is that whatever free time they have, they tend to use. And I get it, because I've done it for like for whatever 15 years now. I started working when I was 16 years old, mid 20s, when I like really started to work a lot more. And in our free time outside of work, it's like we have maybe a couple hours to do what we want to do if we're lucky. Some people have a ton of other obligations, and they might get 15 minutes a day, if anything at all. Time is so scarce. I'd say probably for most people. Even I think, we have a lot of people who are unemployed right now. So maybe you could argue that certain people have more time. Okay, sure, whatever. And that's great. Those people, I hope that those people really contemplate what they want in their life while they have the time to do it, because they're not working. I don't know. Hopefully they're providing for themselves. Hopefully they're not homeless. Hopefully they're not staying in homeless shelters and whatnot. Or hopefully they are. I'd rather you be there than out in the street freezing and dying of hypothermia in the middle of the winter. So like, you get what I'm trying to say right now. Most people, what free time they have is small, and they don't want to use it working on these difficult, self-reflective questions about what they want in life. They want to chill. They want to watch Netflix. They want to play video games. They want to spend time with their significant other. They don't want to spend time doing this, and I don't blame them. What I want to give people with these sanctuaries is time. I want to help them reclaim time. That's why it's so important to me, the whole like work exchange idea of people, they come out to it. That's why the retreats need to be self-sufficient too, is because the retreats need to cost me as little as possible to maintain them, so that I don't have to charge other people, because if it costs me $1,200 a month because this and that cost me actual money to maintain the physical retreat itself, then either I have to pay for that out of pocket, which I am willing to do, or if the price of it if the cost of me maintaining it goes up high enough, that I would need to ask other people to contribute monetarily. But also there's the whole issue of like, what about AI and the robots and like all the stuff that's happening there, and like what you do, in my opinion, the idea that I have, that I'm entertaining, that I'm trying to work toward right now, is you grow the food yourself, so that you don't have to ask other organizations of people or robots or whatever it is, the combination of the two, to provide you the food in exchange for money. Because how do we get the money to pay for it? Well, then we have to create goods and services to then sell, which just makes us have to work more hours, and then it gets messy and annoying. And that's not the goal. People need food, water, shelter on the most basic levels. So if someone can acquire a relatively large-ish piece of land, large enough to have large enough to grow enough food for the people living there. I'm vegan. I've been vegan for a long time, 12 years, whatever. So I don't really do hunting. I don't do cattle and all that. Ooh, hold on. I'm not into livestock. I kind of don't care if you are. I don't give a shit about having that conversation right now. It doesn't matter to me as much as this other stuff I'm trying to talk about matters to me. I don't have like I'm not like oh, you need to be vegan, everybody needs to be vegan. I don't give a shit. I do give a shit, but it's not as much as I give a shit about this other topic I'm trying to talk about right now. So staying on track with all that. I just wanted to make note of that because people might be wondering why I talk about growing food and I never mention like livestock or whatever. That's why. Now you know. Moving on. Grow the food yourself, acquire the water yourself, at least know how. Again, it's about freedom of time. In large part, it's about freedom of time. What is this little light happening right there? I'm asking myself, how can I help other people? One, myself, obviously, but also, how do I help everybody just have more time? How do I help everyone work less? How do I do that? And I've been trying to answer that question for a long time. And my answer that I got a few years ago now, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, however long ago it was these retreats, the sanctuaries, as I call them. Own the land outright so that you're not paying mortgage. Excuse me. Excuse me. You pay for taxes on the land. If you can do tiny houses or something akin to that, you can arguably, which maybe you shouldn't do this, there's a point where you should, a point where it's not as necessary, whatever. In attempt to minimize the overall price of living at this place I'm trying to describe here. If you have tiny houses, you are not legally required to have homeowners insurance on the tiny house. Therefore, you don't have to pay that every month. Therefore, you don't have to charge other people to use it. So if I have 3 tiny houses on 20 acres of land, right? Just for an example, the later chapters of the sanctuaries are going to be way more developed and evolved than what I'm going to say right now. I'm just giving a small example that you can be extrapolated on in the future. So 3 tiny houses, right? 20 acres of land. Cool. I own the land outright, which means I don't have to pay a mortgage or loan, whatever, on the land. Which means I don't have to charge people to live there to help me try to pay for the mortgage. Get the land, own the land outright, have tiny houses on the land so that you don't have to pay for homeowners insurance on the land. Yes, there's risks with that. I get that. We can address that some other time, not right now. 20 acres of land, 3 tiny houses on the land. Have a well. Let's just go with a well. In New York State, it's illegal. I've heard it's illegal. I should research this more directly, but I haven't yet. So if you need to do something with this, research it on your own. To the best of my knowledge, it's illegal to collect rainwater in New York State for like drinking, or maybe even just in general, like regardless of the use. So you get a well. You have shelter. You now have water. Grow your own food. Now you have food too. Yes, that takes a few years. It's not like you plant whatever and then, oh, you have a yield 1 week later. It's not like that. It takes years. Yes, I get that. I'm playing a long game right now. So, okay, you get the land, you plant the crops, you have the tiny houses, everything costs as little as possible. You have solar, Stuttering. Great time. Solar for electricity. You have satellite internet. They're maintaining the solar panels will cost money. Maintaining the wiring will cost money. Maintaining the batteries will cost money. It's not like it's free. I get that. There's a large upfront cost. Yes, I get that too. Long term, it's cheaper. That's why I think it's the smarter option. It's also more self-sufficient, which is also important. Again, try not to rely on external organizations that have what you want, whether it's electricity, whether it's food, whatever it is. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. Neither do I. Nobody does. You're not psychic. If you are, that's cool. You let me know. Maybe don't. I don't know. Are you weird? Are you cool? Who knows? Moving on. Moving on. Self-sufficient as possible. You know how much meaning your life's going to have if you plant the crops that you eat and that the people around you eat? You know how easy it's going to be? You know how when you go to work a job and you feel kind of just like a cog, like you don't really feel the impact of the work that you're doing like you don't see the impact very much on whatever the end result is of the work that you're doing. You might not really see it. You might be in an office somewhere, so you don't get to see the customer or whatever, the client, whatever, that ends up using the service that you helped provide or the good that you helped manufacture or whatever. We're so far removed from the people that use the results of our time that we feel a lack of meaning for that reason too. So when you grow food or collect water or work on the solar panel maintenance or whatever, make clothes from the cotton and hemp that you're growing, whatever you're doing, it's so much more fulfilling to see that the actions you're taking directly impact the people physically around you who you can reach out and shake their hand or give them a hug. When you're impacting those people immediately around you in a very real and relevant way, like literally giving them food to be alive, that feels pretty freaking cool. Again, not everybody has to do that. If you want to be a tech guru and stuff like that, that's cool too. Do that too. And still, like, just my point is the sanctuaries do a lot. One of them is give people time, which they need, which we need in order to figure out the things that do turn us on the most, that excite us the most, that make us feel the most motivated and inspired and excited to be alive and happy to be alive and want to wake up in the morning. We need time to figure out what those activities are, and then we need time in order to figure out how to, I have to work 63 hours every week and take care of my kids and my significant other, maybe my parents, whatever it is. I volunteer at this organization, and there are all these responsibilities that we have. It takes time to figure out the things that really juice us up, that make us feel amazing, and then it takes more time to figure out how to transition ourselves out of doing all these other activities that we're trying to address, all these different responsibilities that we have. It takes time to figure out how to move ourselves from doing all that stuff to doing more of the activity or activities that we figured out that we really want to be doing. It takes time. One of the things that I really want to do with the sanctuaries is help people have that time. So 20 hours a week, if they go there to and they pay for the time there via work exchange, it's 20 to 25 hours of work per week. Why can it be that small amount? Zach, you can't, it's impractical. It's practical. It actually is. It doesn't seem like it is because you've never thought about it like this before. But if it only costs me, I own the land. Let's just go with this, that, or you can own the land, create your own regime. It doesn't matter. In this example, I own the land. I have the land paid off, so I'm not paying anything every month for the land. I have the solar panel system paid off. I have the well. Everything is bought outright. I'm not paying anything per month apart from maintenance. That means it costs me relatively small amount to maintain this whole place, which means I don't have to charge people a lot. If I can get people to do stuff on the property that creates objects that I can then sell to the rest of the world, that can help get enough money together each month to cover what small amount of expenses it is to maintain a place like this. As the place grows, the cost of maintaining it is going to increase, maybe indefinitely, or however you want to look at that exactly, depending on how many years out 100 years from now, who knows what it's going to look like. So I think I've said enough for right now. You get the general point, hopefully, of why I'm so freaking passionate about creating these places, because they solve a lot of different issues, and I've really only touched on a small amount. Because also, it's not just about there's so many other things. Like, maybe you've been wanting to get healthier, maybe you've been overweight for a while, or you've been underweight for a while, or you've been struggling with whatever, getting a relationship going in your life, or you've been struggling with career, or just whatever it is, whatever it is that the person's been struggling with. When they have more time, they can address it. It's time that people need more of. Everybody has the same amount of time, but you know what I mean when I say that. If we didn't have to work so many hours, and then we're so exhausted after work that we don't really feel like we have the energy, or it's like, people tell us, well, eat healthier and do this thing and do that thing and do this other thing, and then you'll have more energy. It's like, okay, to do all of those, I need to first learn about all of them, and I need to implement habits and stuff. Even that takes time. And yes, you can do that. It's not impossible to do that, even if you are working a lot and have a lot of different responsibilities. Yes, you can still make the time. You can still create the time, choose the time, carve out the time. You can be aggressive with no, I'm not. I'm saying no to everything else. I'm doing this activity right now. I'm researching how to eat healthier or how to get better sleep or whatever it is. You can do that, yes, but it's easier to do if you are less strapped for time. The retreats help people reclaim their time, and they help do a lot of other stuff too. Okay. I gotta go to the bathroom so bad. All right, that's all for now. Thanks for listening if you listened this far. Much love. Hopefully, I can create something with all this over time. Hopefully I can keep getting more and more people interested in this. It feels crazy to say that I want donations, but it's true. I do, because I'm out here working, saving money to purchase land. I'm really trying to purchase land this year. I'm hoping that I succeed in that goal, because it'll make people see oh shit, Zach actually did what he said he was going to do. I said I was going to get this car, and then after that I was going to do apartment, but I shifted from apartment to my own land, which is going to have my tiny house. So it's kind of a living environment goal, but I shifted that goal. I got the car. That goal has been checked off the list. The next one is land. Let's make it happen. I'm going to do it. It's going to be awesome. Put my money where my mouth is. Put my feet where they go in the car to make the money to get the land. Drive people around, drive Uber and Lyft, make money, get the land, keep moving toward all these goals that I have. Hopefully people realize that I really do. I freaking mean everything that I'm saying right now so much. And hopefully that people recognize that and it resonates with them enough that they want to contribute. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.